Back to John McLean. Lane left point. T-Shot shoots it, deflected right in. Peter Angelo save rebound. Stastny stopped by Peter Angelo. I don't believe that save. Neither does Peter Stastny. He can't believe the save that Peter Angelo just made on him. As Frankie sparkling on that maneuver there to stop and rob Peter Stastny. He should get 5 to 10 for that. Huh.
Jack, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Between classes and training, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I
So
remember
it's fun getting on podcasts. So I'm glad to get on whenever I can.
I remember those days of being in college myself, of running from class to practice and all of that. So
Yeah,
always fun juggling that schedule.
it's a grind for sure, and it's just I love it though. Like it keeps me busy and helps to keep the body moving as well. And as a goalie, you got to keep your body moving so you feel good when you actually get on the ice.
Yep. Yeah, I look back on those days fondly for sure. I also wonder how I wasted so much time doing nothing. So let's just dive in. As I like to ask pretty much everybody when I get started, how did you get started in the game of hockey? I know when you were a kid, the Hawks were kind of a big deal in Chicago, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I started skating when I was 3 years old, I would say. Wow, it's been 19 years already, so it's crazy. But yeah, my parents just like threw me into skating, like learning skate classes, and like loved it from there. Of course, it was hard at the beginning, like you couldn't even balance, and you'd
Hmm.
fall quite often, like every single step. But you gain that balance over time, and then I started playing, like learning to play hockey at probably like 4 or 5. Did like a couple learn to play uh, classes at my one of my rinks that I go to, a Rocket Ice Arena in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Like
Hmm.
that was where I pretty much got my start to hockey, and then just from there did house league from like probably 7. Like I just learned to play for like 2 or 3 years just to get the basics down, like the foundation. Then going to house, and I played house from 7 probably all the way to 16. Uh, never played AAA though, or well, like I went into high school then after when I was 14, I believe, or something, like whatever the high school age is, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
I played two.
I went the house route through, up to high school as well, just
Yeah,
because, Chicago, I heard the term the other day, somebody used it. It was travel house league. And I think that's the best way to
yeah,
explain house league hockey in Chicago is,
yeah.
you're still moving around and playing a lot of teams. You're just not going out of town every weekend
Yeah.
and going to outstate and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, it's mainly you're just staying in couple buildings, and then play
Yeah.
those teams that are in those buildings, and then go from there. So I did that for probably 9-10 years, like I said, and then it was just I went into high school. High school hockey is a lot of money. So like
Yeah.
I did spring hockey for 2 years, and I was a forward all the way through this. Like I was a forward. And then like I would my buddy that played on the varsity team for he was a goalie. He's like, you should try out goalie. And I was 14, he was 13. So like I was like, yeah, sure, like all right, let's do it. And then went to a stick and puck. Uh loved playing goalie. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if it was because of the desperation saves or what, but just getting those pucks shot at you and you making a save, like there's no better feeling than making a save, especially when you have to go desperation, pull out that, like how do you do that save, and like it gets everyone going. And then played 2 years of
And where'd you play your high
spring as
school
a
at?
I played at it was a club team. It was called like DuPage Stars, but it was combined
Okay.
with like my high school and like five other teams. So it was a big like club, like all coming in together. And then so I was a forward throughout there, was a captain my second year there, and then I didn't really grow into my body until until I got to college. So like I didn't play any college hockey because like I don't think anyone would have taken me seriously because I was like 100 pounds at that time. And I was like, no one's gonna take you seriously then. So then I just have done men's leagues since then, from 18 to 21 where I'm at now, and I'm trying to go play pro in the Federal Hockey League or in the SB. And I went to a camp last August, so 6 months ago or 4 months ago, almost in the Federal League, and it was a good time. And it's unreal seeing like how close the dream is, despite not being able to like do any of like the high level hockey, like
Mhm.
college, AAA, juniors, like none of that. And it's just to see it happen over, and like I'm getting closer and closer to the goal. And I've been talking to a few teams here, so in the next month, I may be playing pro somewhere.
Oh, that'd be fun. Um, I totally lost my train of thought there. I was gonna say that there's some really good men's league hockey team or leagues in Chicago too. Having grown up
Yeah.
there, it was, I always liked coming home on break and filling in wherever I could. And I don't think it's a secret. Johnny's Ice House probably has
Yeah.
the best
Mhm.
leagues.
Yeah, the best league for sure.
Yeah, I always like going down for their afternoon rat hockey. There were some characters that showed
Yeah.
up to that one. I always
Yeah.
liked the dentist who told his wife he wasn't playing hockey anymore until he came home missing a tooth. Then
That's
she
happened to
knew.
me before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then she knew. Um, so you pick up goaltending late, have you gone to any camps or clinics to kind of pick up the technical side of it, or has it really been on your own, using things like In Goal Magazine, YouTube, all of that? How have you picked up the finer side of goaltending?
Yeah. So for the first probably 4 of my 7 years of playing goaltending so far, maybe actually 5.5 years, like I was just my own goalie coach. Like I would just use YouTube, look
Hmm.
at guys or watch guys on TV. Like when I go live in person to see games, watch the goalies there. Go on YouTube, like search up like highlights and like or like regular like game clips and just watch how they handle themselves and how they see the puck, how they read plays, and how they're able to just make everything look simple when it's
Hmm.
really when it actually it is a simple I shouldn't say it's a simple position, but if you're in the right spot, it's simple. And then
Yeah,
just the
it's
resources.
if you're in the right spot and you see the puck, it is funny and how it is simple. Doesn't matter who's
Yeah.
shooting, how fast that puck's coming in. If you can see it and you're in position, it is a little bit simple. That was an issue I had watching Patrick Waugh as a kid. It was like I didn't think he was that good because he was boring to watch because wasn't doing. It looked
Yeah.
like he wasn't doing much, but when he had to, boy oh boy, was he on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I have my own podcast that I've recently started up like 2 years ago. So like just learning from the guys I've had on the show too. And like they've played in the NHL, AHL, Coast, SB, Fed, like any like even college junior goalies I've had on. Like you learn so much from those guys and their story
Yep.
that like you just try everything you can everything you learn from there and just see where it goes from there. And then I've been to a few camps. I went to camp in Hoffman Estates with Jared Nightingale, Scooter Vaughn, Terry Broadhurst. Like they put on a little camp
Hmm.
throughout the summer. And last November too, they put one on during like the COVID times, and just
Nice.
like a smaller one that you're able to root. But that I think that really kickstarted like my goalie coaching, like learning the foundations of everything. Because like the Chicago Wolves goalie coach, Stan Dubicki. He's my goalie coach now, and he's changed my game from what it was before to
Hmm.
where it's at now. Like throughout those camps, like he would like I would be able to skate like the next morning, like before all the camp guys get on the ice, and just skate with like the guys that are there, like Terry Broadhurst, like guys in the AHL, Coast, SB, and then like it's amazing how good those guys are and how they can pick their angles like nothing.
Mhm.
Like that's the first time I had an opportunity to get shot on by pros, and the first time they lit me up because my angles were not good. But ever since then, I've given them a bit of a challenge. And then last January, I reached out to one of like the power skating coaches that I follow on Instagram, Justin Nelly. He is a power skating coach, and like he has like all these pro skates and college and junior skates going on throughout the season for when guys come back or guys that
Mhm.
didn't have jobs last year. Like I spent the past year training with those guys, and it's been nothing but fun, and it's unreal seeing how good these guys are, and like just being able to go against them. And then like they've told me before they went to camp, they're like, yeah, like you actually make us work for our goals now, and like you've gotten so much better since then.
Well, it is fun to get out there with just better competition than what you
Yeah.
typically skate with. And I remember I would go to the Billy Zito skates when he was still a player agent in Chicago. And my first time out there with them, I was like, oh my God. But, it didn't take long for me to feel like I belonged there. Where
Yeah.
after a while they kind of accept, yeah, you're right. That first time that they're going to light you up and be like,
Yeah.
listen, kid. But after a while, you start to feel like you belong there, and then it's kind of fun because you start frustrating them.
Yeah.
I remember stopping Joe Corville on a breakaway, and he was just upset, and he's like, I should be able to beat this college kid. The other guys were laughing, but once we got in the locker room, it was all good. It was funny. He's like, damn, I'm supposed to be able to
Yeah.
beat you. You're not supposed to be able to stop that.
Yeah, and you make good friendships out of those guys too, because like they're like on the ice is like all like work and like getting better, and then when you get off the ice, like you said, like it's all
Oh
just
yeah.
like you're just talking the stories, saying different stories, like just shooting the breeze with the boys, and it's just a lot of fun, and like you build those connections from just being on the ice and being able to stop them, and
Yep.
then going on to after this game, just enjoying the time with them off the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the one thing I remember is Ken being shy that first time or two, walking in the locker room, like, do I belong here? And all it took was, the one joke to be cracked, and,
Yeah.
then you knew you were accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good word is to know that you belong there, because like that's what I learned throughout like the trial that I went to in August. Like know that you belong there and just think that you belong there, and like everything just becomes a lot
Yep.
more simpler, and you're able to just play your game and not overthink about everything, and just having that belongings there and knowing that you could definitely play there, like that's a huge confidence booster as well.
Absolutely. And, that can happen even at the beer league level. I've been struggling this fall season, and finally it's just kind of, I was in my own head is really what it was.
Yeah.
And even my teammates were saying that. And luckily my team that I've been skating with scores a lot of goals. So they're like, hey, don't worry. We'll take care of
We
this.
got
Like
you.
just stop one more than we score, and we're good. And I'm just like, okay. And, finally it just is like,
Just
no,
clicked.
I'm good. And yeah, playoff started, it clicked, and I'm like, all right, we're good now.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. It's the best one that I had when you find that confidence booster, and like everything like gets a lot better, and you're able to make those saves that you weren't able to like the game before.
well, and what's funny is I'm old enough now to, look back and not be so critical on myself. And really, half the time you're not doing anything different. You're not changing
Yeah.
your approach. You're not playing any different. Your angles are so good. It's that old hockey cliche of puck luck. This week I had that puck luck where it was like the puck just hit me. That's what
Yeah.
it comes down to sometimes. And once you get that puck luck break, it builds that confidence, and that now you feel bigger, and maybe you come out a little bit deeper, and that cuts down the angle too. But yeah, once you start feeling like you belong, things do change quite a bit.
Yeah. 100%.
No, one of the things about you're not just a hockey player. In college, you've been running cross country too. When did you get into running and why?
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes ask myself that same question, but it started in like 8th grade. Like I was in middle school at the time, and I was like, I wanted to do something. Like I tried out for basketball, I tried out for volleyball, didn't make the team, which rightfully so. I'm not very good at it. So I was like, hey, might as well go for track. And had a fun time, even though I raced only like 2 meets because like there's a ton of people. And like I was a sprinter back then. So like I did the 200 and then I did long jump as well, which is
Okay.
nowhere close to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And then I go into high school, run 4 years cross country and track in high school, and like track main events are the 800 and the mile, and then go into college and spend 4 seasons of cross country so far, and we're coming up on 4 years this winter for track, and I've loved every minute of it. And it's just, I don't know what it is about running, but like you sometimes get like that like running high where it's like you feel invincible, and like you can just keep going, and then you space out and you're already done with your run, or you're somewhere where you don't expect to be. And it's just crazy how that influences you. And then I think the biggest influence is definitely like the team and like the culture within the cross country and track teams, because like we're all like super close, we're all like a family.
It's very
like
supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I call a lot of them like my best friends, and I'm pretty close with every single person on my team, whether it be from high school or in college now, which is like a bigger team, but like it's still like close knit. And like some of my best friends right now are from the cross country team in college.
When I was in college, we had to have 2 PE credits to graduate, and playing hockey fulfilled one. So you could take a PE class, or if you were in a sport, that fulfilled another. So one of my buddies, he was a soccer player, but he also ran track. And so I think it was sophomore year, he's like, hey, why don't you come out and run track in the off season, stay in shape? It's like, that sounds like fun. I don't like to run. Like I can run. I'm not bad at it, but I'm a goalie. I don't have the knees to run. But
I get that.
I was a sprinter because distance running, it just, you talk about getting lost in your own mind. Well, I'm a goalie and I have a little ADD, so getting lost in my own mind didn't happen to me. But me and the coach, we had an agreement where it was I would show up every day, and I would try hard every day and try and set a personal best each race. And that's what because we knew, because of numbers, my races wouldn't count against the team. So it didn't really matter. So it was
you're just out there competing.
Yeah, be a good teammate and try hard. And every race I got better. Finished dead last every time, but still got better. And that's
all that matters.
That was that. And then the next year came around and it was like, do I want to run track? No, I don't want to. I hate running. It's like I said, it's my knees. That's the problem. It hurts to run.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also keeps me in shape for hockey as well.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Because I'm running 5 to 6 days a week, and then I'm skating 5 to 6 days a week. So it's like it just keeps me in shape, and I feel like I'm double in shape than I would be without one of them.
And there's times where I wish I did like running, because the cardio and just the stamina it gives you is fantastic. I remember going into the season after running track, and it was like,
you're in the best shape you've ever been.
Captain's practices and tryouts, and it was nothing going through wind sprints. Or our school is nestled in the Bluffs in southern Minnesota, so we would have to run the Bluffs as part of captain's practices. And it wasn't that bad that next year. But yeah, it's just, to me, I admire the people that do it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, and like going into college, like we don't have a hockey team, so it's like
Yeah.
I wanted to stay in shape, and because hockey's my true passion. Like you could ask any of my teammates from cross country, and they'll be like, yeah, like hockey's your passion. You're trying to take it as far as you can. Like they're really supportive of that, which I appreciate, and it helps me, like especially like in the mind, because a lot of goaltending is mental, and
Mm-hmm.
like just having that support system where you could just like you have a bad game, like they're willing to talk to you about it and just get like what your mindset was during that time, and just be able to just empty out your mind. Just having that talks with them like empties out your mind and like makes you feel so much better about the game, even if you lose by get smoked, or if you
Yep.
only give up like one bad goal that ended up being like the turnaround event of the game. Like they just really help you. Like I value that time that I get to hang out with them, just because it gets me away from both the ice and like on the actual course for cross country and track. Like it definitely helps just clearing the mind a little bit and being able to just hang out with my teammates and my friends.
Yeah, and I remember when I ran track, it was funny because the distance runners, they were all pretty much just runners, but
Yeah,
sprinters, we were all multi-sport athletes. So we had I wasn't the only hockey player. We had another hockey player. We had a couple soccer players, basketball player. He was kind of funny. And then we had a couple baseball players. And so it was kind of fun to bring those different sport mentalities and that
yeah,
different sport to each other. And the basketball player is talking about, he picked it up for the same reason as me, just, hey, stay in shape. And uh, he wound up being a phenomenal track athlete, to where the track coach is like, so the first meet, he signs him up for the decathlon. And it's the javelin throws coming up, and Todd's like, I've never thrown a javelin. Like, how do I do this? And the coach is like, well, you hold it like this, and this is how you throw it. He goes, oh, okay, sounds easy enough. Goes out, first throw, shatters the school record.
wow, just like that.
Yeah, just like, and so he wound up being a 4-year. I think he may have been an All-American one year. It was just funny, like, went out there just to fulfill a PE credit, never in
Just to stay in shape for the other
set school
sport.
records, and was phenomenal athlete. Now he's a New York firefighter, but it was just funny that it's like, how do I hold this thing? And like 10 minutes later, shatters the school record.
Yeah, that's a story that he can tell his kids. So like that's just that's an unreal story, because you don't like one or a couple minutes earlier you're like, how do I throw this? And you go out there and shatter a
Yep.
school record, like no big deal.
Yep. Yeah. It was funny. I probably wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't have seen it with my own eyes. Because me
Yeah,
and my buddy who got me on the team, we had to go find the coach, because the coach didn't stick around to watch the javelin throw. He's like, it's going to be a throwaway event for him. And we're like, coach, you got to come back and watch his other ones. He just broke the score. He's like, no, he didn't. He comes over. He's like, oh my God, like we got something here.
this
Um,
guy's legit.
yeah, so you mentioned your own podcast. I always like talking to other podcasters to find out, what motivated you to start your own podcast. What was the idea behind it?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, and like it originally started with like like my cousin Tyler. Like he's a part of the podcast, but like he is so busy with school and work and everything, like it's hard to find times. And
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, go ahead like with the interviews, and he's like, just keep the podcast rolling. So that's what I've been doing. But like we both love sports. Like sports are our entire lives pretty much, and like we'd spend like all the time at our uncle's house just talking about sports, talking football, basketball, hockey, baseball, literally any sport you can name, we've probably talked about. And we're just like, we just have hours of conversation. So we're like, how about we start our own podcast where we could talk sports and get other people's opinions, and like
Yep.
get fans of ours, I guess you can say, and just be able to just create like a conversation within not only ourselves, but everyone that subscribed to us, follows us, whatever like platform they're on, just like comments and stuff like that. And then we're like, hey, how do we start reaching out to guests and we can hear their story and see how they got to where they are today, and like see like all the different adversities they faced, how they overcame those obstacles, and like some of their favorite parts about being in the sport, and like how everything came together and how they're able to just go into that from like start to where they are now. And it's incredible. No one story is the same. Like everyone has their own story, and it's just incredible to see everything they've gone through and how they got to where they are today.
Yeah, and it's, you mentioned the time commitment, and it's got to be hard when you have two people kind of hosting one to find time, just because I know scheduling guests is hard, and then throwing a third person. But what, in your situation where it's like, hey, if I can't make it, go for it, that's got to help somewhat. But yeah, it is fun to just have that outlet to talk your passion with other people, which is exactly why I have this podcast and why my wife and kids are like, you need to do this. You're good at it. So
yeah, and you also like create like connections with your guests as well, and like you take that friendship. Like I've met some of our guests in person, and we had Tyler Parks on probably a year and a half ago, and he's playing in the coast right now in Atlanta, and he's one of our good buddies. And like I went over the summer before I went to these camps, and I trained with Tyler Parks and goalie coach Luke from 3 goaltending, and like just to meet up with him and his goalie coach and learn like the ways of pro, and like just like how they're able to just like I'd form this connection from the podcast, and like it's connected us. And I plan on going back there this summer coming up, and it's just like a bunch of my guests, like we've had that connection. I've trained with a lot of my guests, and it's just building that connection. Like it's unreal, and like you never would have thought that would have happened if I didn't have the podcast.
Yeah, I totally get that. There's so many, we've had quite a few of the same guests, which is kind of fun as I look through the lineup. But a lot of them, we're constantly going back and forth texting, Bones down in Nashville, him and I have, I call him a friend, even though we haven't met in person. And we were considering a move down to Nashville here not that long ago. And I kept asking questions about school districts and drives to ice rinks and everything else. And he was just answering them back and forth. And I know sooner or later we're going to get together in person. He's talking of coming up here to Minnesota, maybe for the Let's Play Hockey Expo. And we're going to shoot some content together, I think.
There you go. I love that.
He wants to try on my old Vaughn legacies that I just replaced. So I was like, yeah, you can do that.
He's always down to try new gear.
Yeah, he is. But what's funny is like he's got this old vintage gear. Aside from the mask, like that was the association gear I started with at St. Jude playing out at SIA. And so it's like, hey, I can teach you how they taught us to play back in the day. He's like, oh man, that would be awesome. So there might be something coming, but it's true. You talk to these people and they become friends. Just about every single person I've had on the podcast, I've told them, hey, if we're in the same town, we got to get together and have a beverage or whatnot. And some of the people I would have never thought would have reached out or been like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kelly Rudy's a prime example. He was the one that, told me, he's like, hey, when things open back up and my announcing duties bring me to St. Paul, we got to get together. It's like, absolutely. But then there's other guys, like you've had Adam Carlson on, him and I have a mutual acquaintance, and he actually helped me with my new set of equipment, get the graphic I wanted. So it's sick. Like, yeah. That's probably the best part.
Goalies aren't afraid to talk to anyone. They'll talk to goalies, and you can just shoot the breeze with them, and it's just like nothing's happening, and it's like a kid on Christmas.
It's funny you say that because, there's so many times I've been places where, conversation's stale and, not much in common with somebody. And then the topic of hockey comes up and, one of you mentions you're a goalie and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, best friends. You're off in the corner. Perfect example. My brother-in-law's wedding reception introduced me to this fella. Didn't look like he played hockey. I'll put it that way. And he's like, yeah, I'm a chef. I was like, I can't cook. And we're talking. And my brother-in-law just walks by and he's like, hey, he's a goalie too. And then we're both like, what? And until I left the wedding, that it was just him and I sitting back there talking equipment, talking, 90s goalies and all kinds of stuff. It's funny how we get.
Yeah, you can talk about goaltending for hours and hours straight without, especially if they're a goalie too. Like you'll never get tired of talking goaltending with them.
Nope. No, it's great. So I have to ask, of all the guests you've had, who's been not the biggest name, but your favorite one because the conversation was just good?
That's a tough one. I have a top 5 list, I would say. Like I can't pick any favorites because I like to say that they're all my favorites
Mhm.
because they've come on my show and we just have a good talk. But like the ones that really stick out to me is Zach Procali, Washington Capitals goaltender. Jamie Phillips, retired professional goalie. He was with the AHL, Manitoba Moose, Winnipeg Jets, and he went overseas for a little bit. Dylan Kelly plays in Macon, Georgia, for the Macon Mayhem in the SPHL. Uh, who else have I not named? Adam Carlson was a good one too. I love that one. Caden Fulcher, Grand Rapids Griffins goaltender, and the list could go on and on. Like Mike Santaguida, like he's also one of my goalie coaches, like my goalie mentors. We have like a whole group set up and like we just talk goaltending and help everyone get better.
Mhm.
And there's I can name a lot more, but like all those are the ones that really stick out to me. And like I've had those guys on 2, 3, 4 times, so it's good to reconnect with them, especially after the season, and then make another podcast out of it and grow that
Yep.
connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And did I see like your latest episode? You had Pete Fry on.
Yeah, I did.
That's an awesome get. He's definitely on my list of guys I want to at some point talk to.
Yeah, you
Uh,
definitely reach out to him. If he doesn't answer, I could definitely set something up for you too.
That'd be great. That'd be great. So I want to be conscious of time because I know you got training a little bit later too. I end every podcast with a list of 10 rapid fire questions. And the first one is, what's the craziest coaching moment from your playing days?
Cool. It's probably had to come from when I was a forward because I haven't been on like any like teams with as a goalie yet, but like this like we it was like my first year of high school hockey and we're like, oh, we maybe scored 3 goals the entire season out of like 15 games, so we're like 0-15, gave up 20 goals a game. And like this this coach he would just hammer us like every single time, like rightfully so. We're giving up 20 goals a game, but like we're also just like new to high school hockey, so we got to figure
Mhm.
everything out. And he'd just be like f-bombing us like every single shift, and like what the f is that? Like if you make a questionable play, which it happened a lot over the course of the year, and then like it was just a lot of like f-bombs, and we're just a mess of a team. But I was on the ice for 2 of those 3 goals, so I guess I got plus two on that. But maybe I was like a dash 30 throughout that season.
It
But
happens.
that would probably be my like craziest coaching moment or story.
It happens. My freshman year on JV, we went 0-20 in Catholic League play. But consequently, when we played non-conference teams, we were about 500. So it was just something about the Catholic
Something
League.
about the conference teams.
Yeah, well, as you probably know, that the Chicago Catholic Hockey League is a tough league to play in, especially in the mid to late '90s. There was some interesting fellows.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. But I've also had coaching experiences when I was a ref too. That was a mess.
Yeah, when I coached at the high school level, it was customary that the refs would come and introduce themselves, and I would look at them and say, nice to meet you. No offense. I just want it's in my job description that I'm supposed to yell at you all game. It has nothing to do with you or the job you're doing, and that always broke the ice and kind of got them on our side a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to get the refs on your side, and once you do that, everything's fine.
And it's funny that kids don't understand that. I learned that early on at the Darren McCluskey goalie school when I was learning, and one of the shooters was a ref, Mark Schmutt, and that's what he told us. He's like, "Hey, be nice to the ref. Always pick the puck up and hand it to him." He goes, "It's a small thing that goes a long way that will get you quick whistles." And to this day, I still do it.
Yeah, before the puck drops for the opening face-off, just talk with him for 10, 20 seconds, and then he's suddenly on your side, and you get all the quick whistles that you want.
Yeah, it's funny. You get the quick whistles. If you think a guy's coming into your crease or messing with you, you just mention it to the ref. Most of the time, next thing you know, the guy's sitting down for 2 minutes. Otherwise, if you just mention to the ref, they're like, yeah, whatever. But even in the beer leagues, I do that. And every now and then they don't sit the guy down, but I'll get the whistle and the faceoff will be out of the zone. And they're like, oh, what? There was one game, the guy got called for 3 times and the ref is like, how many times do I got to call you? The blue paint is his,
Yeah. I wish I had some of those moments. The amount of times people would be in my crease and I'd hack them to get out of the way. I'd block them to the lower back to get them out of my crease, and I'd get called for we'd both get called for rough or splashing or something like that. But then I just go up to the ref and I'm like, hey, he's in my crease, he's not supposed to be in there. And then the next time he does that, he gets the call and not me.
Yeah, I think I've told the story on the podcast before. We were playing Fenwick. I want to say it was my sophomore year. I remember the end I was in at Southwest Ice Arena. It was the end opposite of the Zamboni. And this kid was just hacking at my pads, trying to slew foot me and everything else. And the period's winding down and he's standing right in front of me. And I just stand up and cross check him in the back. He goes down. This kid stands up looking at the ref like, what are you going to do? And the ref happened to be that one from my goalie clinic too, Mark. And this kid's like, you're not going to call him this and that. And their coach is going nuts. And Mark looks at him, he goes, you've been an ass to him all game. And I haven't called it. He got you back. Now you're even. And their coach is like, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I had a situation the other night when I was playing. We had a good ref and a not so good ref.
Yeah.
And there was one ref to start the game, and then the other guy showed up later, and the guy that was there first, I was like, wow, it's just gonna be a busy night tonight. And I ended up getting 65 shots, and we're just having a good time every time I stopped the puck. He'll come over and talk to me for a little bit. And then at the end of the game, I was like, see, he told you I was gonna be busy, and he just laughed. Whereas the other guy, he showed up late, so he wasn't in the best mood. So I'd toss him the puck I'd put it with the puck on my glove, the backhand of my glove, and just toss it to him. And there'd be times where it'd be perfect right to him, and he'd miss and drop it. And he's like, I'm done playing this shit. And then he was already pissed at one of our other teammates, so that didn't help. And then it just felt like everything we did,
he was having a bad day.
Problem. Yeah.
So the next question, what's your favorite all-time goalie mask?
All-time goalie mask. Oh, there's over 1,000 to choose from.
Yeah.
But I really like Vesa Toskala's mask from 2000, it was either 2001, he was with the Leafs, 2006, 2007, something like that. Just like with like the Yeti type mask.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it was clearly, but like that mask always stuck out to me. And then like the just any mask with like it could be like a wolf. It could be a wolf and like just have
Yeah.
like the cartoonish character like on the mask and like make it like the head and like have like the jaws be at like the chin.
Kind of the
Like
Cujo style
those
helmet.
yeah, the Cujo style, yeah, those always stuck out to me because it's like it looks fierce and like as a goalie you want to look fierce to the competition.
Yep, absolutely. So what's your favorite rink that you've played at?
That I've played at, probably there's a lot more bad ones than good ones, but I really like to play at the Edge Ice Arena in Bensonville.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the camp was for in August, and like that ice is just so smooth. And also fifth third ice arena, MB ice arena, what it used to be called a few years ago, where the Hawks play right, or Hawks
Yeah.
practice facility is, like that. You can't go wrong with that because it's an NHL practice ice sheet. Like
Yeah.
it's always gonna be smooth and there's no divots in the crease or anything like that. It's just smooth sailing throughout the entire game.
You know, it's funny you mention that because I see the Wolves flag behind you, and looking on your Instagram profile, you're a bit of a Wolves fan. And I got to skate at Allstate Arena in high school, and we're all like, this is going to be the best ice. And we were shocked at how crappy the ice was at Allstate Arena. It was soft. It was, not as smooth as you expect it to be. And then everybody I've talked to says this about any big arena is how hot it is under those lights. But
Yeah.
just how soft that ice was, we were like, no way. We would have expected better ice there.
Yeah, I've always done like the post game skates at the Wolves games, and like it never beats them, so I couldn't tell you if it was good or bad. But like the choppiness of the ice, like for post game skate, like that's bad because like all the players were on it during the third period, so didn't really get didn't get clean. So
yeah, it wasn't that great right after being Zamboni'd either. So don't worry about it. So this is one I always like to ask. What's your favorite stick that you've used?
my favorite stick, it'll probably have to be Bauer Supreme 2, or the one I'm using now, the Bauer 2S, Bauer 2S Pro. It's an Oscar Dance stick. My goalie coach got it for me, so like I've used that for the past like month now, and it's never failed to like not have any good feel to it. Like I love it. Like it's mobile, it's durable.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's probably one of the most durable sticks I've had in a while.
Yeah. So what is your favorite youth hockey memory?
Ooh, youth hockey memory. It probably be winning the championship in house. Like I think we're like probably like 14-1-2 or something like that, and we went right through the regular season. Like I was the leading scorer there. Like I'd get like 3, 4, 5 goals a game. Like I was just putting the puck in the net, and like pucks were finding me. And then we went through the 3 rounds in the playoffs, and then scored 5 goals in the championship game, and I think we won like 7-3 or something like that.
Nice.
That'd probably be one of my favorite youth hockey moments.
So on the other side of that, what's the best chirp you've heard on the ice, off the ice, in the locker room, directed at you as a ref?
As a ref, it'd probably be like, "You're dropping the effing ball." I've never heard that one before, and like it was a weird situation too, because like one of the guys, like they, or the 2 players, like how youth hockey is, like mites, like they crash into each other, and like you gotta really, like, you're not supposed to check, but like you can obviously tell when they just run into each other because they have their heads down going for the puck. Like that's not a check. And then like one of their players goes down and like he's like hurt, but they're going on a break on the other way, a breakaway. They score. The coach like comes off the bench. Like I'm repping with my brother who's also who's new. It was his first year or something like that. And it was like my third year. So like I had a little bit more experience, but like the coach came off the bench and like went towards like me and was like just F on me and like you're dropping the effing ball, like all that. And then like I was like, you're complaining to me, but your player's down on the other side injured and you're worried about what
Right.
the call them scoring a goal where I couldn't have called it dead because that would be you're taking away a scoring chance there on the other side. But it was just like you're dropping the effing ball and all that. And I was like, I should have thrown that guy out and teed him up, but I was too young at the time and didn't feel like or didn't have the energy to kick someone out and then go through all the paperwork that you have to go through.
Yeah.
But for a goalie, it'd probably be just like f you, like you suck, like there's no good chirps, like they're just like there's literally no chirps. Like I've gone up against like the biggest guy in the league before and like he's just like he gets in my face and he's like f you, like you're a effing like p word. And I was like, and then he skates off the ice and I'm like, if you said you called me that, but you're the one skating off the ice, like
Yeah.
I'm here if you want to go, if you want to have a go, like I'm not afraid to drop him. I'll go with you. Maybe shorter than you and way a lot less, but I'm always willing to go if you just skate off the ice. Like you can't chirp if you're just skate off the ice like that.
Yep. Well, I was just thinking of the best chirp. I guess you could call it the best chirp I've had at a ref. It was back when in college when they were still doing 3-man crews, and I was doing the music for our varsity hockey games. And the refs come out, and I on the PA system start playing Three Blind Mice. And they come out, they kind of chuckle and they skate over to the bench and they go, okay, who gets the bench minor? And our head coach points up at me. But after, but it was funny. The ref's like, I love it. Don't stop it. Keep it going. So for the next 3 years, as I did the music, every time the refs came out, Three Blind Mice played.
That's awesome because it's not like a direct chirp, like you're saying it, but it's like indirect because it's playing the Three Blind Mice and the rest right there.
Yep.
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, that was fun. And then the first time a opposing player would get a penalty and they'd be going to the box, we would play Celine Dion's "All by Myself." That was always
that's a good one too.
Yeah.
And like some of the chirps that you hear, like I can't really like think of any on the top of my head, but like my teammates have told me like a couple games ago, like one of the other teams chirped at one of our guys, like your skates untied. Like that was their chirp, and his
Yeah.
skates were not untied. Like that's the best chirp you can come up with. Your skates are untied.
Yeah, I've been playing in the men's league for quite a while now, and it's funny because you play the same teams every year over and over, and you start to get to know the guys. So it's the chirps become less out of anger as they are. You just want to pick on somebody for fun, even though they're on the other team. And I think it's more fun that way, that, trying to just make them laugh than try to upset them.
Laughing ones are probably the most useful because like you get a laugh out and like yeah okay buddy.
Well, and that throws you off your game more than being angry does. Being angry gets you focused.
Absolutely.
So what's the worst post-game beer you've had?
Ooh. Probably IPA.
Yeah,
like, I'm not really a like a basic like IPA guy. Like it was just like in a silver can, like classic like IPA. I don't know what else it was, but that was not a good one.
As a beer snob, I agree. IPAs are not good post-game beers. It's got too much of a bite for right after. Maybe once you reach the parking lot, okay, but right when you get off the ice.
I've also seen White Claws that I don't think it's beer. Like you don't bring in White Claws.
Yeah, whoever brings that into our locker room will not be asked back. I'll say that much. And I
Gotta
played
be
on
beer, not seltzer.
I've played on some co-ed teams too, and that's not coming into our locker room.
No,
um,
that's a no from everyone.
yeah. When you tape your stick, do you go heel to toe or toe to heel?
I go heel to toe.
Okay, you're like most goalies. I'm always fascinated by the goalies that go toe to heel because
Yeah,
there's not
like
many of them.
I'll start on the back side of my heel and then work my way up to the front of the toe, and then I'll put like the other slit up tape on the back end of my toe.
Yep. Yeah, that's normal. So what's your favorite number to wear, and more importantly, why?
My favorite number is 35. Like I the first goalie number I did get was 39, but like ever since I was a kid, I was like when I play somewhere, like I want to be 35, and I don't know what sticks out to 35, but like maybe because some of my favorite goalies from the Wolves, the Hawks, like they've worn 35 since I was a little kid, and I was like, that's my number, 35.
Yep. Yeah, it is a good number. That was my number up until college when it wasn't available to me. So since then, I've been
What's your
39.
favorite number?
I'm 39 these days. And part of it is my style is a little more Hasek like, so the number fits. But when I got to college, I've told the story before, 35 was my number, but an upperclassman had it. So I went to the cabinet that had the jerseys, and I found the biggest one they had, and it happened to be 39. And it was just like, all right, that's my number now. And it's funny when I say it, but it's one of those numbers that when it's on your back, it just feels right.
Yeah.
A few times where I've been given number one, I'm just like, nope, doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
So,
Like
something's off.
yeah. Like I've worn three numbers in my goalie career, 30, 39, 35, then 29. Like 29 is also a second favorite, but I really like 35.
Yeah, in terms of playing goalie, I've had 30, 35, 33, 39, and 1. It's kind of been all over the place, you know. So sometimes you just take what they'll give you and be happy
Yeah.
you have a jersey and you're dressing.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
know.
that's all that matters, is that you're dressing and you're getting time on the ice.
Exactly. You know, that's the key half the time. So what advice do you have for young goaltenders?
I would I would say just have fun. Like once you like I'll give two. Like one is have fun. Like why did you start playing the game? Because it was fun and you're enjoying
Mhm.
times with your friends, with your buddies, with your teammates. And like once you like overcomplicate things and start like over looking ahead of everything, and just being able to just having everything run through your mind, it's just like just that's when everything I feel like goes everywhere. Like just being simple, keeping it calm, cool, and collected, relaxed. Like that, those are like my couple anchor points, anchor words I use, and just have fun. Like I'm playing the game because I'm having fun, and like I plan on playing it for my entire life, and it's just having fun. And then also my second, also going with having fun, is just being in the present moment. Like just be in the present moment. Don't think ahead. Don't think where you're gonna play in a year. Like that's some of the biggest things that I've taken away from like what other people have said as well, is just focus on what you're doing now in the season, game by game, practice by practice, and just don't overthink or say like, oh, I want to get to a higher level. Like have that goal in mind, but like don't like overwork yourself to do that, and just be able to just be in the present, and just be able to just focus on your game and developing as a goaltender and getting better each and every day, and not worrying about what team you're going to make in the future and just like stuff like that. And then second is just be a advocate for yourself. Like I have not had like a normal like story, like I'm trying to go play pro, and like I've played house, I've played spring hockey or spring high school, and like I didn't play college, I didn't play juniors, but I'm still trying to make a name for myself, and like I'm contacting coaches, like having like game clips, game highlights, highlight reels, just sending them out to coaches and getting their feedback, and just putting myself on their board, and just having myself be an advocate for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are probably the 2 or 3 biggest ones that I would say.
That's the best thing you can do, is fight for yourself. And when I had Adam Carlson on, he was saying the same thing, is, you gotta be the one that stands up for yourself, because as much as a coach is your friend, they have to stand up for themselves and maintain their job. So you got to fight for yourself and reach out and do the work yourself.
If you want other people to trust you, you have to trust in yourself, and you have to believe in yourself and fight for yourself, because no one's going to trust in you. No one's going to trust you. No one's going to believe you until you prove, or you go out and prove it, or you're so confident in yourself. Like there's a line between cockiness and confidence. And like, I think you got to have that balance between that, and like go ride the line a little bit, but not be too cocky, but also be like confident in yourself, where you know where you belong, and that you can play at that next level.
Absolutely. That's probably the best way to put it, is for others to believe in you, you have to believe in yourself, because it's so true. We can do the fake it till we make it, but at some point we got to believe that we can make it. Absolutely. So where can folks find you on social media if they want to follow you and your podcast?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Instagram at my personal at jack.hudec, at jack.hudec. And then you can find my podcast at On the Spot Sports, with underscores between each word. So on underscore the underscore spot underscore sports. And then we're also on, I'm on.
My internet cut out there right at the end of the interview. I wish Jack all the best in his quest to play hockey at the next level. It's not easy, but he seems up for the challenge. Be sure to follow Jack on social media at jack.hudec, that's HUDEC, on Instagram, and be sure to follow his podcast, On the Spot Sports, on social as well at on_the_spot_sports on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube simply by searching for Wash Up Goalie, and I'll pop up. Visit washupgoalie.com for some great hockey-related content, my beer league hockey video highlights, and of course, all podcast episodes. If you want some Wash Up Goalie or Tendy Talk apparel, be sure to visit my Threadless shop by clicking the merchandise link on my website. If you like this podcast, go listen to the BLPA Big Show. It's the OG BLPA Podcast Network show where a couple of beer league players talk beer league hockey, draft experience shenanigans, and exploits from around the game. Be sure to check out the full lineup of hockey-related podcasts on the Hockey Podcast Network as well. There are too many to list here, but shows like the Three Pigeons Podcast, the What Lies Beneath, Seattle Kraken Podcast, and the BC Hockey Podcast. I need to thank the band The Zambonis for allowing me to use their music on my podcast. You can download their music on iTunes or listen wherever you stream music from. I'm always working on lining up other goalies to talk to. If you are a goalie or have connections to a goalie who I should talk to, shoot me an email at washupgoalie39@gmail.com or send me a DM on social media. And let's not forget, if you're a brand who wants to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast platform you're listening on. It's a quick action on your part that helps others find Tendy Talk. So, until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your body square to the puck.
Jeremy Roenick got a